Welcome to the Moving Diaries. Hi besties, I'm Caitlin. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. It's so good to have you. My fiance and I, Benna, who was on my channel for the engagement vlog and the Antigua vlog, are moving to Glasgow in literally about 2 weeks time. So things are progressing, things are moving fast. It's all so exciting and we thought we would take you along with us. Benna's not here today for this vlog, but I'm sure he will appear in the other vlogs that we've got coming soon. This vlog will be flat hunting. We have already been to Glasgow and picked our flat, which is so exciting, but I took some videos of the places that we said no to. So today we're going to sit down, we're going to talk through them, the pros, the cons, and you can see everything that I viewed when I went to the viewings. Before we do get started, I just wanted to quickly say I don't mean to come across ungrateful or cause any offence when I'm talking you through the flats we said no to and maybe what we did and didn't like about each property. Although it's personal preference, I am also very aware of our privilege that we're in to, number one, just simply move. Moving in and itself is such an expensive thing to do, but also secondly the fact that we had a varying budget. We were able to look at properties on the higher end of our budget and then some on the lower end of our budget, and that in itself is such a privilege. I just want to quickly say that I don't mean to cause any offence. Starting with the first flat, this was £1,100 for a one-bedroom apartment or flat, whichever you want to call it. I feel like apartment's quite an American word, and usually we would say flat here in the UK, but then seeing that the current building that I am in, my address is apartment and then the number, so I'm sort of like apartment, flat. We're probably going to use those words just interchangeably throughout this whole series. So this was in, I think it was Kenway. I was getting slightly confused with the street address, so it was Kenway Drive, but in the area of Thornwood. I'm sure this is in the west end of Glasgow. £1,100 per month for a one-bedroom apartment. A fully furnished flat, so it came with a bed and mattress, some bedroom furniture, a sofa, washing machine, fridge, freezer, everything like that was included. A pro to this flat was that it was just off the motorway, so getting to and from the motorway to travel places would have been ideal. And the location of the flat itself was quite good. Around the corner there was some barbers, some cafes, although around the flat block itself there was just a lot more flats, so it did seem, so it was quite built up in that one area. Parking would have been a little bit of a hassle, I think. Well, I mean, if you're good at parallel parking, it wouldn't have been. You would have been fine. Me, on the other hand, I need to practice my parallel parking. I'll admit it, I'm not the best. And it did seem, because there was just so many flats in that area, it might have been a little bit hard to get a space outside where you stay. And the west end of Glasgow isn't too far from the city centre. Now, I have to be honest, I really did not like this flat. I did appreciate how big the bedroom was. There was a lot of space, there was a lot of storage, but something about this whole building just gave me a bad vibe. All the doors had I'm not too sure what it's called, but I'll insert like a picture because our current front door has this feature where it's something to do with fire and health and safety, so of course it's a good thing. However, all the doors in this apartment had this, and in the UK it reminded me of student accommodation in universities. When I used to visit my friend Heather at her uni accommodation, all the doors had this feature and it just brought me back to those days, and I just felt, I don't know, something about the whole apartment didn't really feel very homely or very cozy and friendly to me. It felt quite clinical in the sense of all the walls were just white. There was a grey sofa, which isn't a bad thing, but it just felt really cold and dark and just wasn't the one for us. Also, the kitchen didn't have any window. It was tiny, and I just thought, if anything, that's a major fire hazard. The tiniest bit of smoke from cooking would have just set the fire alarm off. So I left that one kind of feeling a little bit deflated. I just thought, if this is the tone that's been set for today, when I get home tonight I will just cry. I will cry from stress and just my hope being deflated. After that we drove to Mount Florida, which is in the south side of Glasgow. This flat was priced at £975 with the deposit being double that. So this was the most expensive deposit for all three flats that we viewed. Normally the deposit would be either a month's rent or 5 weeks of the rent, if that makes sense, but this flat was double, and that was like a which of course you do sometimes have to suck up that is what the deposit is. You can't really like argue with that. Was that it was fully furnished, came with a sofa, washing machine, bed, storage, everything like that, and the parking was also a little bit better in this area as well. So I felt like even if my parallel parking skills weren't that great, there was other parking that I could use until my skills were, you know, a little bit improved. I'll make sure to insert a video of the bedroom storage because in there I loved the layout. It looked super fresh and brand new, which was a massive positive. Another positive to this flat was that it was literally next to the train station. Not so close that you would have heard and felt the trains passing by, but I want to say maybe a 3 to 5 minute walk. The living room in this flat was really large as well, and I could really envision me and Benna living there, having our stuff there, decorating it. I could envision his work desk in the living room and just like a little setup sort of thing. The cons to this flat, however, though, one was that it's so close to Hampden Stadium, and I didn't realise this when I booked the viewing. I knew it was close, but just not how close. So within 1 or 2 minutes you were at the stadium, and they have football there, they have concerts, so I just knew 9 times out of 10 we would probably not get any sleep when a concert was on. It can sometimes run to 10-11 p.m. at night. I usually go to bed quite early, but it really just wouldn't have worked. The other thing about this was the kitchen. I found that it was really small. It was basically a kitchen just long ways, and then you just had one wall behind you, but there just wasn't really enough room to walk about. So if I was maybe standing at the hob, for example, if Benna was to try and walk behind me, there'd be like no room. So that was a major off-putting thing. Also, it was 3 flights of stairs with no lift, which I don't mind too much, but it wasn't going to be ideal. Benna unfortunately has long-standing issues with his back from a previous injury, so we wanted to be really mindful of that and possibly either get a flat on maybe the first floor, or if it was higher up in the building, something with a lift. One thing I will say about Glasgow is, I actually really like this, is that the buildings aren't the most, well, the ones we were looking at anyway, they weren't new builds. They were basically, I will try and find a year that they were made and insert it on the screen of the ones we were looking at. If you envision like an old sandstone building, that's really what they are. So because of that, lifts weren't installed, but that was just one thing that we noted with this flat, was the kitchen, the no lift. And also that was a group viewing, which I really didn't like. I've never been to a flat viewing before where it's not just been us viewing the flat. So there was 2 other girls viewing, and they were, I think, both potentially moving in with their boyfriends, or I think one already did stay with her boyfriend, and they had to find, don't know what's going on with my voice. I feel like I've been talking too much today, and it's getting a bit croaky, so please just ignore that. But yeah, they were both looking for a long-term rental basically, so that was a bit daunting because I could hear them speaking about how much they liked it, and I thought, if we do take this flat, we're going to have to apply straight away and get the deposit down. But then when we went to view the 3rd flat, the 2nd flat came a straight no, and for all the right reasons. So the 3rd flat we viewed was actually the cheapest, and we liked it the most. Everything just worked out really perfectly. Parking outside was great, there was loads of parking. The area was quieter, it felt more residential, and it gave me more of a town feeling, even though it was still in the south side of Glasgow. So again, this flat was a 1-bedroom. It just so happened that all the flats we viewed were 1-bedroom. Our idea was basically to get a 2-bedroom if the bedroom, no, let me start that again. If the living room and kitchen was an open plan space, I really don't like the open plan spaces, but then if that was 2 separate rooms, we were fine to just go with a 1-bedroom. So all the ones we happened to view on this particular day were a 1-bed, and they were all furnished. So again, this flat came with washing machine, fridge and freezer, oven, hob, bed, mattress. This one actually came with 2 TVs, which we were so surprised at. There was also a desk, a dining table, sofa. There was some really nice storage built into the living room in the walls. What else? Oh, I really enjoyed the bathroom with this one because it wasn't a bath and a shower in one. It was just a longer shower. Because Benna and I don't take baths, we don't really care for one. So when we seen that it was just a shower, that was a massive plus. And there was a bit more space in this bathroom as well compared to the other 2, especially in the first one we viewed. You can actually see in the clip that I took where the bath mat is. It literally touches the bath and touches the wall because there was hardly any room. So the first 2 bathrooms were more of a long style bathroom. The 3rd one had more space, and this flat also came with a desk and chair in the bedroom. When we opened the cupboard in the bedroom as well, there was some storage. It comes with 2 not bedside tables, chests of drawers, which we are either going to keep or possibly just ask the landlord to take out, because we have some right next to me that we're going to take. And then if not, but then we were thinking maybe we'll put those chests of drawers in the bedroom closet, cupboard, whatever you want to call it, because it's really deep, so we'll be able to fit a lot of stuff in there. This flat just gave me homely, cozy, friendly vibes, which was exactly what we were looking for. I think because there's a bit more colour in this flat, there's a sort of sage green in the living room, The bedroom, when I first seen it, I wasn't keen on the sort of reddy brown wall, but I think once we're actually moved in and we've got more of our decorations and accessories in the whole room, I think I'll warm up to it. But all in all, this just gave me like a really cozy vibe, which I loved and Benna loved. The price was amazing as well. It was the cheapest of the 3 flats we viewed, and we just happened to like it the most, which was a massive win. And the deposit was only a little bit more expensive than first month's rent, so in that aspect as well, it was really great. Our plan was basically to view those 3 flats first, then it was the weekend, and then if we had to, we would schedule some more flat viewings for later on in the next week. However, a lot of the flats that were advertised were starting to get a little bit out of our budget. One of our biggest things we want to do this year, next year, is save up to buy a house, get a mortgage, and have our forever home basically. So we were really cautious of, one, not having too much of a high rent, but also the council tax had to be either a band A or a band B, and at a push a band C, but we were really hoping for a band A or B. And it just so happens the flat that we got is a council tax band B, so again that helps to keep our overall monthly bills to as much of a minimum as we can. We did find some more flats that we could put in the back burner in case we needed them. However, they were more around 1,100 to 1,200, and a few of those did have a council tax band of C or D. We were really hoping that we would get the last flat that we seen on this day, and I'm happy to say that we did. We done the application, signed the agreements and the tenancy, and we get the keys in a couple of weeks. Because Ben and I have spoken about this for what feels like maybe a good year or so, it feels like a long time coming, and now that it's finally here, I'm so beyond happy. If you've seen my previous videos, you will know that we got engaged recently, which was a beautiful chapter in our lives together, and I feel like this is the next one we're taking together. Then after that, hopefully we'll be a house and a mortgage, and then our wedding. So oh, I'm just so happy with life right now. I'm so grateful and so blessed that everything's just fallen into place, and yeah, I just can't wait. So I'm not too sure how long this video is going to be, how much I've rambled. I might include I don't know actually, I was maybe going to do a declutter with me in this video as well. I think I might do that in a separate moving diaries episode. Maybe do like a declutter with me, go through my makeup collection, my clothes, what I'll sell, what I'll give to charity, and yeah. I find declutter videos with me so satisfying to watch, so I thought, why not just do my own? Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed, give it a like and leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.